all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee.
This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah.
Is she stupid or is she dumb? Because I think she might be both.
Well, negotiations, right? Politics.
And we're out of time. So you.
Hey, y'all, Gravity, any day above ground living. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. And hopefully, you have accomplished a lot because most of y'all should be off work. We're going to have fun yesterday. I know listening to old Tatum Tots try to speak about the Bible left a sour taste in people's mouths. We understand this. I figured we make it a little fun tonight. We're going to watch the Queen of Samboism, Candace Owens. She is being broken by white supremacy again, and we like it.
Are you gonna cry?
They are putting her through the ringer both politically and culturally. She hasn't ever gotten the message. How many times do we have to tell her? They don't like you. You figured this out after Daily Wire fired you. And instead of being the nice independent coon that you could be, you decide you're going to keep going on crusades that you have no shot of winning at. And it's terrible. But we don't care because we're going to laugh at you just the same. Just like we have constantly laughed at you doing this.
Moving on up, to the east side. Where the looks apartment in the sky. Moving on up, to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. Fish on fry in the kitchen, a fish on bar on the grill. Took out one of the dry just to get up and eat. Now we're rolling big leaves, getting our children there. As long as we leave, it's roommate, baby. There ain't no wrong with that. We're moving on up, to the inside. To our dear looks apartment in the sky. Moving on up, to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie.
The reason why we played that, family, is once these lawsuits die down, because now she may be involved in another one. That might be her job in Nashville, teaching folk how to line dance. We'll go over all this. Yes, we will. But you know what we do? We make sure we acknowledge the room, so we will see who's in the building. Wallow J, hello. Reparations Nation, hello. Brooklyn Queen, hello. I don't know why it's that big. Jesus, it's never that big. There you go. I hate sometimes when this decides to reset itself. But anyway, Miss Nisi, hello. Stolen Ancestors, hello. Reparations Nation, hello. Cosmo Fury, hello. Marco Brolo, hello. Emperor Rex, hello. Don P, hello. Anybody else? Anthony Ruger Phillips, hello. Lehman Lucas, hello. For those who haven't said anything in the live chat or the comments, hello. All right, we will be looking at tweets and video today. So you know what we got to do. So you know what we have to do when it comes to that. We have to do the customary house.
Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now go to start the teaching.
All right. So we're going to start in X land, and you're going to love it.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
All right. So, in the wake of her interview with Nick Fuentes, which she put behind a paywall, but somebody on X decided to upload it, and we went over that, and YouTube didn't like it too tough. They gave me limited monetization, but that's not what we're here for. I'm going to do something special for y'all today. I'm going to leave my voice box away. And I'm going to let you see everything. Now, this tweet you see was yesterday. In the wake of Candace Owens debating Nick Fuentes or having an interview, some things transpired, and what led me down this rabbit hole was this tweet here. Now, she says she ain't like what happened because, as TBA eloquently put it on Sunday, that interview, once everybody saw it, backfired on her and legitimized the little bastard. The mixed bag of nuts that he is. Pause. So she proceeded to write this yesterday evening. Absolutely shocking. After weeks of lying about me and certifying to his followers that he had receipts regarding my character, Nick has informed Dan Blitzerin that he doesn't want to do a moderated debate, which we will show you those tweets later. She wanted to debate this man. So you brought this man in your home, violated the sanctity of your house by bringing this white supremacist into your home, where your children lay, and you know how he feel about black people, especially mixed people. Disrespected your husband, who was probably on top of the nanny at the time. And now that it didn't go your way, you decided now you want to debate. Okay, give me 1 second before I say this, since we're in the vortex. Madam Farmer, you can't debate worth a damn, and we're going to show that later. You just trying to sound stoic is not debating. Most of your information that you get is very outdated. We've already proven this. You're on the back end of your career. Everybody goes through it. Why do I say that? Fam, unless she's doing live streams on her own channel, she's been relegated to doing streams with Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan. That's how low she has risen. So after I was exceedingly kind to him and he suddenly betrayed our discussions, we'll see who betrayed who later. Then dedicated hours to publicly insulting me, lying about my team, lying about my family, claiming I was working with Russia and the Tate brothers, plus a legend I'm illiterate and dumb. Nick suddenly doesn't want to face me. Doesn't want to face me. That's what she wrote. Waka, waka, waka. You know, she does resemble Fozzie Bear a little bit, but you know, we ain't gonna go there. Is this the part where I get to cry on a stream and say, no one will talk to me because I'm just so real? I am the movement, laughing my ass off. Well, ma'am, you shouldn't talk about crying because we saw you cry to Trump when this Macron boss came around. So, yeah. It's almost like he is a literal theater boy with victim mentality who pathologically lies about everyone and then pretends he's being attacked when someone calls him out on his pathological lies. I paused there for a second because something just popped in my head. It's almost like he's a literal theater boy with victim mentality who pathologically lies about everyone and then pretends he's being attacked when someone calls him out on his pathological lies. Well, madam.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
Yeah, she's capping right now. Oh, you don't believe me? I figured you didn't. Let's see who remembers this here.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Well, what this be? It appears everywhere. Candace Owens shares newspaper clipping reporting Brigitte Macron's birth allegedly used in lawsuit against podcaster. We're going to circle back to that later. I want to show y'all something. That was just a little taste. Based on that paragraph she said, I want to say it was last week, she got into a little bit of a scuffle with Megyn Kelly. Yeah, that chick. Since she wants to talk about crying victim and all that. She wrote this. By the way, she deleted it. And just to prove that she deleted it, there you go. I actually remember that tweet. She said, I'm taking this down. So it seems like when the white women call you out, You take tweets down, a la Christina Applegate. But okay. She wrote, from transgenderism to C19, Megyn Kelly has consistently been on the wrong side of every issue. She thinks she's smarter than her audience, but she isn't. She's being destroyed in her own comment section for trying to do a hit piece on me in defense of Brigitte Macron. Owens tweeted on Tuesday, August 5th. Now, what did Candace mean by that? Well, Candace Owens called her a coward because she dared to have an opinion on her claims about Brigitte Macron, even though she admitted she never watched the 8-part series. Newsflash, Candace, most people didn't watch it. I know you're going to claim that you got millions of views on it. Well, ma'am, the internet is not real life. I know your handlers over there at the David Horowitz Foundation, God ain't letting his soul rest right now, but them, PragerU, The Blaze, Daily Wire, your people, they didn't tell you that the internet is not real. I understand you get digital currency out of it. It's not a real place. When you log it off, you are who you are on your social security card and your passport and your state ID and your credit cards and possibly debit card. That's who you are. You are who you are in those pictures, even though you are fake, but you're still you. Just because you can boast millions of views on these videos doesn't mean that everybody is hip to what you're doing. Because contrary to what you think, you're just a small microcosm in this universe. Like me, like everybody that has watched it or is watching this live. We are given a specific task on this earth, and we can only do what is ordained to us and what our purpose is. That's it. This was not your purpose. This is why you're getting all the shit that you're getting. You have strayed from the path. You were trying to create something. It's not working. And even white folk who once loved you because you were dunking on black people, now all of a sudden they don't like you because not that you're trying to expose this woman as a man, which again, as I said before, we don't care. The whole of the Earth society does not care if this woman's a man or not. She's not going to let you fuck. Or she's not going to fuck you. I know it's hard to hear. A white person don't want to fuck you. I know. I get it. Also, you doing all this is just for clout. It's not real. But it's okay. It's all right. Continuing. So that was the tweet she wrote on August 5th. Discussing a series while consciously choosing not to show even 1 minute from that series. Okay, so we're getting to the crux of the problem now. She wanted Megyn Kelly on her channel to put a clip of her show on there so she can grift a little bit of her audience over there, even though probably a lot of her audience already subscribed to her. But okay. Again, what did I just say about clout? While also admitting that you never watched it makes you a coward at best. So she's talking tough. The conspiracy theorists added, at worst, an unwitting defender of an orbit of PDF files. So now you called her a PDF file apologist. And the way them conservatives have been acting lately, that should be grounds for her, Megyn Kelly, to talk about lawsuits, because that's what conservatives do nowadays, lawsuits. Before Owens fired off at the journalist, Kelly spoke about the defamation lawsuit that Emmanuel Macron and his wife filed against Candace for spreading misinformation about the First Lady of France. Quote, she's a conspiracy theorist who got twisted up on this Macron thing, and it's not true, and she refuses to see reason. Meghan claimed on her talk show, "I'm not sure that's reckless disregard. That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario for Candace is it's true, and these people are lying about it because they don't want to be humiliated." Again, why do you care about this? But okay. Meghan confessed that producers watched it, and they did tell me, and they have nothing against Candace, but they did say that it's thin, it's disjointed, and it's hard to follow at times. After Candace issued her tweet about Meghan, the journalist responded by defending her choice to cover the story on her talk show. She said, "Actually, the segment was very fair to real Candace Owens with straight legal analysis of Macron's claims. If anything, I was skeptical about them, arguing Candace Owens really seems to believe her statements, which may save her legally, but some people spend their days looking for new enemies," Meghan remarked. And as I showed you, Candace took the tweet down because she had her black girl moment, flew off the handle, and then when the white woman played the blonde card and checked her, she backed down, just like Christina Applegate did, which was more embarrassing because she was sitting in a wheelchair at the time. But okay, we got that out the way. So she has almost 1 million views on this. And of course, it's mixed. But y'all don't care about that. There may be another lawsuit. Now, I just quickly read this article. And Candace, you might be in trouble again.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
So this came out 5 days ago. Now, apparently when the Epstein stuff was starting to die down, this photographer who took, they're saying, the last few photos of Epstein while he was alive, they're saying that Candace Owens showed it without permission. And they had to send legal letters to her to take that down. So let's read. Candace Owens recently shared a response to a legal letter reportedly issued to her by photographer William Farrington in a video shared through her self-titled YouTube channel on August 7, 2025. Owens said that Farrington was the one who had clicked the photos of Jeffrey Epstein as he was being transferred from his prison to New York Presbyterian after he reportedly committed suicide. These photos were then published by the New York Post, for whom Farrington was a contracted photographer, as claimed by Owens. Owens said that the reason she received the legal letter was that Farrington had copyright over the photos in question, due to which they could not be shared on social media. Notably, Owenstein had previously shared the photos on social media. Shared the pictures, I'm sorry. So your underlings are screwing with you and putting you in a position where you can get sued. Delaware seems to be a popular state these days, aren't they? Over 60 people. We haven't had those numbers in a while. Make sure you hit the like. Owen said she received the legal letter Owen said that the reason I read that already, sorry. Quote, he since has copywritten those photos, and we were actually glad about that because I'm happy to take down those social media posts, William Farrington, but it also allowed us to learn where William Farrington lived, Owen said. Wait a minute. He since has copywritten those photos, and we were actually glad about that because I'm happy to take down those social media posts, William Farrington, but it also allowed us to learn where William Farrington lived. You remember what I kept saying, that she's trying to grift back over to the left? I think she's trying to rebuild and revive Red Pill Black. This sounds like you were happy he did this so you can dox him. Never forget where you come from. But let's continue. Candace Owens then claimed that the two pictures of Epstein were reshared alive in 2019 when the financier reportedly died by suicide. She also claimed that it was allegedly hard to believe that Farrington clicked the photos at the Presbyterian Hospital by traveling from Flatbush, Brooklyn, where he lived within a given time span. Someone would have had to call him at the prison really that morning and be like, hey, Jeffrey Epstein just deleted himself really quick. He's coming in through this door. Get here as fast as possible. I think it's unlikely. I feel like we're all just kind of being lied to about Epstein. I don't even really believe that Epstein's gone, Owens remarked. Okay, first off, Flatbush to Manhattan is not that far. And it's not going to take that long. If he jumped on the train, he could be in there inside of 20 minutes. But okay. So she almost got herself into a jackpot. Good job, Madsen. Then we go to this. It appears everywhere. Candace Owens shares newspaper clipping reporting Brigitte Macron's birth allegedly used in lawsuit against podcaster. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron recently filed a defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens. The legal action was initiated on July 23rd in the U.S. court following a series of claims made by the right-wing podcaster alleging that Brigitte Macron was born male. Despite the ongoing lawsuit, Candace Owens has remained consistent in her claims. In the August 7th episode of her podcast, she discussed an old newspaper clip from the local Amiens paper, Le Courrier Picard, which reported the birth of Brigitte Macron. Owens questioned the authenticity of a historical newspaper clipping. So you're saying they were faking newspaper clippings in the 50s? She's really trying to play up that conspiracy theorist. We continue. Owens stated that the first couple of friends included this old clipping in a lawsuit against her. Why wouldn't they? It's called evidence, but okay. She alleged that the Macrons have consistently tried to present the newspaper clip as evidence of Brigitte's existence. Podcasts are questioning the significance of such a clipping over a birth certificate and photos. Quote, it is a weird thing to continually present as evidence that you existed. Like if you are challenging me to prove that I existed, the very last thing I'm going to produce is a newspaper article because who cares? Okay, she got it. They just love this newspaper clipping so much. It appears everywhere. They have insisted on this birth announcement as an element of truth or veracity, Owen said. Well, if you're saying that she's a man, I think a newspaper clipping could go away to prove that she was born a female. Just saying. I think the newspaper clipping would say that whoever her parents were gave birth to a healthy baby girl. But okay. The seemingly old newspaper clip that Owens displayed on her podcast was in French. However, the podcaster translated the excerpt, meaning somebody else did it. It reads, Anne-Marie, Jean-Claude, and Marie Van Monique, and Jean-Michel Trogneau. And this is in French, but it's, you know, that they're very happy to announce the birth of their sister, Brigitte, Owens said. Owens also displayed a filing page that, according to her, included the clip in question along with a family photo featuring Brigitte Macron as cited in the lawsuit. She read aloud point 23 from the filing, which stated that Mrs. Macron was born Brigitte Trogneau in Amiens, I'm guessing, in 1953. The document described her as the youngest child in a prominent chocolate-making family. In this context, Owens lashed out, alleging that there has been a war with the truth. She also accused the press of lying on behalf of Brigitte and Emmanuel. Okay. Again, I'm still trying to figure out why this is pressing to her. And we still can't figure out why, but all right. So unfortunately now we're going to have to go over to video. And then we'll go spin back on this Nick Fuentes thing. So she went on her show to talk about this. I think this was the episode where she said that They hired a private investigator. I know y'all can go get your buckets. I understand. But we got to hear this. We need everything.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
All right. Let's hear what Coon Dance got to say.
You know, some of you guys might be here for the wrong reason, because last night on Instagram, I was lamenting the fact that my postpartum hair loss began. Oh, ladies, I know you can relate when your hair.
Why would you admit that? We're not even 10 seconds in and she's already trying to play victim. Man, okay, that's something women go through. You didn't need to tell motherfuckers this. Not everything is consumable for the internet, but I get it. I get it.
Just sheds the 4th month. It's after you give birth, and it's terrible. But look, this is my style right now. This is going to be my style for, like, you know, the next 8 weeks. So just get used to it. This is me, because you can't see it. You can't see it. So that's what's happening here. If you came here to look at my hair loss, you're never going to see it. I found a style that works.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I have a question. Now, this photo back here, I'm hoping one of 3 things. This is one of her people. That's what I'm hoping. The 2 things I'm hoping it's not. This is not a picture of Xavier Durousseau, because I'm gonna have a lot of questions why you have a picture of this man. Because for some reason I see blonde hair right here. That's number 2. Number 3, I would also ask, why do you have an AI photo of Wesley Snipes dressed as Simon Phoenix from Demolition Man? I got questions, but those are not pertinent today, so we're gonna leave those alone. Let's get back to the video.
You can't see it. So that's what's happening here. If you came here to look at my hair loss, you're never going to see it. I found a style that works. Anyway, you guys, the morning that I had was crazy, as all mornings over here are crazy, because I don't know, I'm not allowed to just have peace. I received an email. Well, rather, I should say Mitchell received an email from the Financial Times this morning. You know, they were the chosen publication of Brigitte and Emmanuel when they decided to announce the lawsuit before I had ever even been served. They decided, I'm going to show the Financial Times everything that we're going to serve her with so that they can have this article ready. It's very Blake Lively, a PR move, right? Anyways, I'm not going to read it in its entirety. I am going to put it up in its entirety. So if you guys want to read exactly what they said to Mitchell, because we're going to go over it. But this is the email. It reads, "Hi, Mitchell. I'm working on an article about Candace Owens that I'd like to put to her for comment. We plan to report that Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron's lawyers hired investigators to carry out open source research on Candace before filing their libel lawsuit against her in Delaware last month."
Open source research. I know some of y'all are probably saying, I ain't never heard of that before. They want everything. When you do these type of research, they get everything that's been publicly made. Do you know what that means, ma'am? Let me sit up. Madam, you're playing a dangerous game. You do realize they can go to Meta and get your Red Pill Black account. Because for those who don't know, you know how when you leave certain media apps, social media apps, and they tell you, you'll get a copy of your data and they delete it? They actually keep it in the same format they give it to you, called JSON. It's basically, when you open it, it just looks like a whole bunch of symbols and numbers. That's all data. They can compel Meta and subpoena them for all those records and show how devious you were as Red Pill Black. They can get copies of every tweet you ever sent, even the deleted ones. They can get copies of your direct messages, even if you delete them. because I know somebody's going to say this is public information, right? That does not extend any kind of safeties when it comes to social media. This chick does not get it. These escargot eaters are not playing. They are going to bankrupt you. And your people, well, the people you married into are English. That gave the frogs more of an incentive to fuck with the Union Jack. And I'm here for it. Yeah! But anyway, let's get back to the work.
That produced some findings on political links, including on Candace's ties to the French far-right personalities and her popularity in Russian state media. The investigators' remit was to document.
Now, those are the other things she crashed out about, especially with Nick Fuentes. They're saying she is a product of Russia. Russia hyping her up. Madam, and I noticed she didn't have a countersuit for this. Madam, you saw what happened with the halfling Lauren Chen. You saw what happened with her when it comes to Russia. And you're in the same neighborhood she lived in. I don't know if she moved out or ran back to Canada. I don't know. They take Russia very seriously with the DOJ. I would be very careful. You better not have one shred of Das Vidania or vodka somewhere in your life. You better have paid for that can of caviar, baby girl, because if they find something illicit with Russia, your life is over.
Potentially defamatory statements and to detail Candace's background and profile based on publicly available information. We plan to report on some of the investigators' findings, which include that in late 2023, Xavier Poussard, the former editor-in-chief of Faits et Documents, spread the claims that Ms. Macron was born male. Candace has connections with French far-right politician Marianne Maréchal, the niece of French far-right leader Marine Le Pen, and Candace was the headline speaker at the 2019 Convention de la Droite, which means like to the right conference in Paris, organized by far-right and nationalist organizations that are close to Ms. Maréchal. So just to right away comment on that, it's still so crazy to me. I speak everywhere. I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds of events. I've spoken in Hungary. I've spoken in the UK. That's how I met my husband, speaking in the UK. And they are now saying that
so you met him in UK, forced people to get him. I'm sorry. You met him in the UK, came home, and since it was the scamdemic, forced this man to talk to you over Facebook Messenger for 17 days before you got hitched. Ma'am, by the way, you made that public. They can go get those messages. You better not have extorted this man. There better not be any extort type language in the messages.
get to work. Their proof is that they realized I spoke in Paris one time and that the niece of Marine Le Pen also spoke at that event. So that's evidence of something, obviously. People in politics speaking together. What's next? CPAC? She spoke at CPAC. Also other.
So this right here, family, is where you figure out that she is living in La La Land. Ma'am, they can use that against you. They can lie and say, now I'm saying lie. I'm actually going to not defend you here, but I'm going to open up a rationale. They can say that they drummed this in your head 6 years ago. They could say people like this Le Pen and everybody else, they've been trying to go after them for years, and they were throwing that rhetoric around all over the place. So you were influenced by this French rhetoric. This goes a long way to prove that you have no solid proof. By the way, since it's Tuesday evening, screenshot. We keep that. Let's continue.
People spoke at CPAC. So there's a connection here. Then they kind of move in this email to strenuously connect me to Russia somehow, which we're going to get into in a second. But this is my favorite part. Then they say, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was reported to have been a guest of honor at Candace's wedding to George Farber. No follow-up there. I don't even understand why Nigel Farage is getting thrown into this. Yeah, did also include the part that my husband is English. Yeah.
She don't fucking get it. By the way, screenshot number 2. She don't fucking get it. Ma'am, this whole saga came out of the right wing. Again, this can be used against you. I know you can prove that it's just somebody that happens to have the same views as you. This can be used against you.
George Farber. No follow-up there. I don't even understand why Nigel Farage is getting thrown into this. Yeah, did also include the part that my husband is English. Yeah, he might have some political ties. He met at a political event. It's all starting to add up. And they continue by writing, the investigation highlighted her connection to Tucker Carlson, who has interviewed her online, and her posts supporting the brothers Andrew and Tristan Tate. In light of these connections, it is clear Candace is aligned with a group of right-wing political figures. Oh, what an investigation. You guys, this is breaking news, just to be clear. I'm on the right.
Wrong. You're grifting on the right. But okay, fine. That right there, what you just said, can be used against you. I don't think she understands how these lawsuits work.
And I have connections. I've been in politics for a while. I do, in fact, have some connections with some other right-wing political figures. This is really a stunning email that I received. Lastly, they say that also on YouTube, a video in April 2024, Xavier Poussard said that he had translated his work about Ms. Macron into English and sent it to Candace and others. And he says in that video, quote, I think she knew nothing about Brigitte Macron only a month before, and suddenly she takes on the case. Well, there you go. There must be a reason that I took on the case. Anyways, they then published the article. They gave me, of course, as they always do, just a couple of hours to respond. And they moved to publish the article. The headline here is insane, okay? We really need to appreciate how insane this headline is. Macron's, yes, the president of France, you guys, the leader of France, a state leader. Macron's hired investigators to research U.S. influencer Candace Owens.
Oh my God. She just said that was insane. She's never heard of people being investigated before a lawsuit drops. She's never heard of this. Oh my God. Oh Lord.
Jesus Christ. Is this a joke? Huh? Are you joking right now?
She can't be serious. Man, that's a practice that's been old since people were suing each other. How do you think some of these divorces go down? The woman or the man or both hire private investigators to get dirt so they can strengthen their case. She can't be this dumb. What am I saying?
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Right wing, let me holler at y'all. At one point, y'all were loving on this woman. I know y'all regret it now because she's talking about Israel, but the more she's not even talking about Israel here. Let's just all look at this objectively. Y'all can't sit up here and tell me that y'all still riding with this chick. There's no way. She doesn't even know how the progression of a lawsuit happens, and she's been sued and sued people before. Madam, okay, we're both from Caribbean lineages. Maybe I got to be the one to say it. You're risking your children's futures on trying to prove that some woman is a man. Madam, since nobody gonna tell you this, steel drums and all this, let me go get some steel drums for a second, fam. But anyway, how y'all doing today? Maybe she'll hear it better if there's some steel drums in the background, because I don't think this chick gets it. She really don't care about them kids. I'm saying, do y'all think she cared about them kids? Or that was a grift too? Y'all just saying a lot in the comment threads. I ain't even looking. This is insane. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. It's gonna take forever to download it. You gotta load the internet sometimes. All I want is an MP3 of steel drums. I can't even get that. I really don't think she loves her kids. Brigitte Macron cannot be, she can't be that important for you to go sit up here and risk your existence. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know. Ma'am, you lose this, you're going to have to move out of Green Hills. You will become a Stepford wife in the UK. You're going to have to move in with your father-in-law who already hates your guts. But I guess you want to die on this hill. That's fine with us. Do it. It's content for us.
Robert, stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing.
We'll be printing this out. I will get a hard copy of this actually. And I'm going to frame that because that is just what like the headline's crazy. The headline is crazy, but the details beneath the headline are somehow even more insane. First, they tell us who they hired. Quote, the investigation carried out by a US-based firm, Nardello & Co., was produced before the French president and first lady filed their lawsuit against Owens last month. Quote,
yeah, that's a real thing. Okay.
The Macrons have brought this lawsuit with the full knowledge of who Owens is aligned with, said Dan Nardello, the executive chair of Nardello & Co. and a former New York federal prosecutor. Okay.
Why wouldn't they?
Okay, so let's start there. Who is Dan Nardello? They tell us that he is a former federal New York prosecutor, which means he's not pocket change, you guys. Okay, he is not some little chump on the corner. He is a former federal prosecutor who has started a firm, an investigative firm. And when you go to their website, it tells us that he's involved in some pretty serious stuff. Skylar, could we pull up something from his website? I think we pulled a couple of clips of this. This is under representative matters. They tell us that he has tended to, like FTX, Sam Fried, that whole scandal. Yeah, it reads, following FTX's high-profile bankruptcy, Dan and his team were engaged by the company's new CEO to lead the global investigative efforts to help recover FTX's assets for creditors. Tells us.
Okay. What's your point?
Nardello & Co. continues to support the new FTX management and external counsel in vetting creditors and bidders, as well as other litigation related to the bankruptcy proceedings. Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried, who went to prison, who is in prison, that's what he was involved in, okay? Then it tells us the next thing he's involved in, appointed by the government of Abu Dhabi as the independent investigator of allegations of abusive labor practices during the construction of NYU's Abu Dhabi campus. Okay,
Abu Dhabi. Okay.
The government of Abu Dhabi went out to this investigator and said, we need to bring you on because we're in trouble. Government level stuff. He is named.
That's not even what it said. Okay.
Okay. Independent investigator to resolve the conflicts that arose from the settlement between the state of New York and leading tobacco manufacturers. So again, he's entering in on behalf of a state to go after tobacco manufacturers. That's like a gazillion dollar industry. Okay. And then there's me.
So you're saying that law firms don't do this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, Candace.
Okay. Then there's me. And somehow the French president has moved and said, this is the appropriate person to hire, to go after her. Very serious guy. You can see this is a photo of Dan Nardello. As you can see, he is holding a magnifying glass. So he's like Sherlock Holmes. I'm just kidding, Dan Nardello. I'm mocking, but it's very funny to like, you're going to get me.
It sounds like they are. This sounds like a crash out. By the way, screenshot. The woman is crashing out right now. Continue the crash out.
Get to work!
Crazy. And I can only imagine being Dan Nardello and going through with this. We're going to get into what he discovered, that a little piece of him knows that this couple is nuts. Again, bad word to use here. But yeah, nuts plural is this couple. Elsewhere in the Financial Times article, their lawyer, the one who did the rounds on CNN to defend his client, admits the reason, because we've all been wondering, what on earth would move a sitting over country to embark on this lawsuit? You have to be mad. And Tom Clare acknowledges in this article the very reason that they made this extraordinary effort to sue. Okay, they are pioneering this. It's never been done in the history of mankind. And here's what he says. He says, quote, their decision to sue was driven in part by the Macron's desire to understand why an American conservative podcaster had taken an interest in them. Okay, like this is it. You're just going, it doesn't make sense to me that an American podcaster would be interested. So you're filing a lawsuit because you're completely paranoid and you just don't think this is organic. Again, we arrive at this like Blake Lively situation where people do not believe in organic traffic. And it really shows.
Let's not forget the fact that earlier somebody said that they don't understand why. Megyn Kelly said she doesn't understand why this is her fight. The other person said they don't understand why this is your fight. Hey, stupid, you're going to have to sit in front of their lawyers eventually and explain why you're doing this.
Shows you how much control they have over the state media that they're shocked that somebody on the outside got interested in this case. It's super interesting. So they're like, it must be, of course, Russian collusion. It must be Russian collusion. That's the only thing it ever is, guys. Come on, wake up, look alive. Okay, I know it's Monday, but look alive. It's always got to be Russia. Now, regarding the matter of Russian collusion, the FT reports, quote, the investigators found that once Owens's Becoming Brigitte series was released, Russian state-controlled outlets reported on it. It was covered on Sargrad, a TV channel led by Konstantin Malofeev, who the researchers described as an ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. They found that Russia's RT had posted about Owens more than 30 times since 2018. They did not find evidence that Owens had met Russian officials or state media personalities or had direct personal or business links to Russia.
Yeah, the people at Tenant Media tried that. Didn't work. That's why I said earlier, you better not have one piece of Dostoevsky anywhere near your person or in your orbit, or you're finished.
But Owens has interacted on social media with Alexander Dugin, a Russian nationalist and a philosopher, the investigation found, with the two reposting each other's posts multiple times. We have to slow that down because this is a level of clinical insanity that it's rare to reach. This is actually aspirational in many ways. RT, which is a massive publication, maybe the biggest publication in Russia, their evidence is that a political figure in America has been discussed or tweeted about on RT 30 times in the span of 7 years. Okay, now who knows? It could have been 10 on the same day. It could have been because I don't know. Kanye and me wore White Lives Matter. They give us no details. And maybe they reported on it because me and Kanye West wore White Lives Matter shirts in Paris. By the way, I forgot to include that in your report. Ooh, what's that? Have you explored the Kanye connection? Have you? Just why were we wearing those White Lives Matter shirts at a fashion show in Paris? Hanging it out there. I know right now the Élysée Palace is watching and looking, going, we forgot White Lives Matter. It's crazy. Why would she say that? But yeah, maybe all times in the 7 years, it was on that one day. They don't give us the context. It could have been because Trump has spoken about me. I've been together with Trump. It could have been in context of them just.
You mean like when you cried and said, Trump, help me? I still contend this is the crash out.
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
Covering Trump. No, they're just like, just so you know, 30 times RT has covered Candace. I'm sure that's totally normal, actually. If you looked into other publications in France, they probably have covered me about that many times in 7 years, given things I've been involved in. And then they move on, and they are really trying. This is strenuous. They don't tell you how many times, but they say, a Russian political philosopher, Alexander Dugin, Candace and him tweeted at each other, the post multiple times. You guys want to know how many multiple times? Because I had Skylar check this morning, just search on X, how many times I tweeted Alexander Dugin. 2. I have a total of 12,700 plus tweets on Twitter.
You forgot that you deleted. Okay.
And 2 times before this morning, I had retweeted and commented on something that Alexander Dugin said. So if you work that out mathematically, that's about 0.000 something percent of times that I have tweeted at Alexander Dugin. But it's evidence of something. I don't know. Why would you tweet at him twice out of 12,700 plus times? Again, no context. By the way, it's very recent. It's because he thought he posted something very funny. He watched my Brigitte series and then posted something. I think I retweeted him and commented on it. So it's amazing. Again, this is what journalists do. They give you no context. Just like, well, Russia. She once flew over Russia. Actually, the firm has told us that Candace took a flight over Russia. Not in it. She's never been to Russia. She's not working with, just bury in there. Yeah, she's not working with anybody, actually. I don't even know what we're investigating. She has no connections. She's taking no money. But that doesn't matter because haven't I confused you enough? 30 times RT. What does it all mean? Now, on the matter of how this non-existent collusion relates to France, yes, Maria Michel. The article reads, the investigators also found that Owens had connections with the French far-right politician Marianne Maréchal, the niece of French far-right leader.
All right. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, she's doing a lot. I wish I could say that was it, but yeah.
You want some more?
Unfortunately, we have more.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Yeah, she went to go see Pierce again. Yeah.
Get to work! Hoodwinked by these journalists who have gone on a complete fantasy trail of nonsense, trying to suggest Brigitte Macron never had 3 children, is a man, it's all a lie, and all the stuff that you've been doing on your channel and getting huge traffic for and making tons of money. So if you're right, it's been a magnificent display of fearless journalism exposing a bombshell revelation about the First Lady of France. I absolutely make no bones about that whatsoever. But if you're wrong, as I believe, I genuinely believe you're wrong, then it leaves 2 avenues of explanation for why you would pursue this so aggressively. One, you've been duped by these French journalists. And secondly, worse, that you've got to know it's not true, but you've ridden the wave of conspiracy theory about it because it's been so lucrative and it's gone around the world, like you've been saying. And I think that is why they're suing you, because ultimately they know that you've been amplifying this massively more than the journalists had in France, getting way more global traction. And it boils down to one simple fact, not photographs, as you keep trying to distract me with, but a sex test. If on day 1 of this case, she just produces an actual sex test report that says she's a woman, you're going to realize in that moment you've been completely duped. What do you do then? More and more Americans are putting their health.
Don't care.
I said, you are asking people at home to suspend their common sense and to truly believe that rather than answering yes or no questions, rather than maybe at first going after the author of the book, Xavier Poussard, who is a Frenchman, for defamation, that would be the first thing. Why don't you launch, at least at the same time, both of these suits? I'm going to go after Candace and Xavier Poussard. They are instead only going after me for defamation and not the person who sourced this entire quote unquote rumor. There is, let me tell you, Piers, too many people who have watched this series, okay? They're watching your show now and they know that you are not accurately presenting what has happened here. But also, Piers, I think you are better than defending a pedo-criminal network, right? And that's the biggest piece of the story, is how many people around them have gone down, publicly admitted that they were pedophiles and were involved in this campaign at the beginning. Even if you removed the allegation, which I believe from the bottom of my heart, like I said early on, I would stake my entire career on the notion that she was actually born Jean-Michel Trugnel. I believe that.
Macron lawyers and them, they just downloading everything. Everything gets downloaded.
Right. And I'm willing to go through this because it's an important story about government deception. But even if you suspended that, you are right now defending a government that lied even about the beginning of their quote unquote love story, in which his parents removed him from school because of this creepy 40-year-old teacher who found a 14-year-old student to be sexy or attractive. This is wrong. Everything that's happening right now in France is wrong and it is perverted. And as a mother, I will stand up to this. And I am confident that we will emerge as the winners of this, because in America, truth is an absolute defense against defamation. And I am telling you.
So why are you worried about France? Shouldn't you be extolling the virtues and upholding the virtues of America at home? Why are you trying to stand up for quote unquote positivity against another country who doesn't have our values? According to you.
The truth.
Yeah, it is an absolute defense. And I think there are perfectly legitimate questions about how their relationship started, the massive age gap, and the rest of it. I don't dispute that for a moment. But, you know, as you say, in a defamation case, it ultimately comes down to truth mattering. And it seems to me this whole case is going to be resolved in a very straightforward way, because the obvious way to prove that you're wrong and have been systematically lying about it, if you've been doing it deliberately or otherwise, but telling a lie about her, which has obviously caused an enormous amount of hurt, is if they just produce evidence she's a woman. Do you accept if they do that, your whole case disintegrates?
Of course it would disintegrate. Well, first off, no, they would have to prove the actual malice standard in America, which would mean that we knowingly knew this. We went to them with questions and they refused to answer. That is very strange. You're saying you're a victim now because this series came out.
Why the fuck would she tell you this? Again, she doesn't get this. Ma'am, why would they just tell you that? You weren't going to believe them if they told you anyway. They might as well put you in the courtroom and show it to you. That way they could get a judgment out of it. That's the whole point. They gave you ample opportunity to drop this. You didn't want to drop it because you figured you were safe in America. That's why when that lawsuit dropped, it broke your mind. Because like, how the fuck can You be a French national, the president of the country. How can you file a lawsuit in Delaware against me? And your lawyer had to tell you, well, you're technically a corporation. They can sue you. They can go after your intellectual property. They can go after your assets, whatever is tied to that LLC. If they get you in that courtroom and prove that she's a man, she's not a man, you're screwed. Because once she proves that, everything that you've said is going to look at libel. That's defamation. That's malice, what you called it. You're finished. And you'll really be crying.
And yet you had the power to stop the series when we came to you and said, we're not interested in telling any lies. We actually want to get to the truth of this story. And we asked very simple questions. Did you ever live as a woman named Veronique? I believe, yes, Brigitte Macron, before taking on the identity of Brigitte Trucno, lived as a woman named Veronique. Why wouldn't you just answer that question and say no? If it gave you so much grief that this rumor was out there, why not respond to that effectively in the 10-year period that you had the time to respond to it? Okay, Brigitte.
10 years. Man, you just took this up last year. Now she wants to be the avatar for this whole movement. Okay, man. If this fails on you, you think they're gonna help you get back on your feet? These people that think that this person is not a woman, they're gonna move on with their goddamn lives and do content on you laughing. And then also saying that this is a conspiracy theory. The courts over there, even though it'll be legislated over here, the American courts are hiding the fact that that woman is a man. While you're trying to figure out how to feed your kids. If they want dinner time, they got to get on a flight.
He is not a victim. Far from it, I believe Brigitte is actually somebody who has victimized Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron is pathetic. He's absolutely pathetic for letting this go on for so long. You could easily dispel these rumors. And like I said, we were asking for photos from a 30-year period of Brigitte's life. We were not asking for blood. We were asking for simple answer, yes or no. Could you show us some photos of you raising your alleged children? They failed to produce that, and now are pretending that they're victims. And of
but
course,
they're under
it's
no
backfiring.
obligation. Candace.
Why?
Right, they're not,
They're
but
under
don't
no
then complain
obligation.
and say you had to file a lawsuit. They contacted us.
Because you wouldn't shut up. That's why they filed it. You wouldn't shut up about it. If they told you no, it should have been the end of it. Why would you go do a whole series on it and keep running around writing tweets about it and then going on these shows and talking about it? At a certain point, you get tired. Just like when Kim Klacik was sitting there, y'all were going back and forth. Eventually, you got tired. And the lawsuits came. Then the countersuits came. And it got litigated, did it not? And you won some money. They're tired, man. And they're going to make an example out of you. That's why they're doing it. Yes, they got the other two assholes over there in France that did it. And I ain't caping for them two over there. I'm just trying to tell you a story. They won that case. Yes, it got overturned. They tested the waters. They're going to make sure your let me reverse it. Your melanated ass is going to suffer. By the way, screenshot. They're white supremacists. They don't care. They're going to bankrupt you to make a point. They ain't got nothing to lose. They're going to dig into your wealth. They can let this drag on for years to the point where you're going to either settle it or you're going to drop it. Or you take an L. You can't win in this. Because let's just say you prove that she's a man. Look how many thousands of dollars you wasted. That could have went to your cheering. the social credit you're going to erode. Your reputation, even though it's in the tatters right now, it's going to look worse. You can't win because you're melanated. And we know how Francis treated melanated people.
You're in a no obligation. We didn't reach out to them. They reached out to us first.
Hang on. They say they made it crystal clear to you that all your claims were wrong, right? That your basic premise that she's a man is wrong. They said they told you that before. You went ahead anyway. You carried on. Even when they launched the lawsuit, you carried on saying the same stuff, right? And it's
her goddamn cousin in marriage is telling her this, and she's not listening.
It's a massive play on your part. Listen, I admire your balls. I mean, it's probably the wrong...
Pause!
Pause. He paused. I said pause, nigga.
Pause. Oh, man.
Term to use, given the issue we're discussing. But I do admire your balls, right? Because you're going for it and you're doubling, trebling, and quadrupling.
Now I see why they call him a beta male online.
Pause. He paused. I said pause, nigga.
Down, but ultimately your entire reputation is now directly linked, it seems to me, to whether Brigitte Macron is male or female. If she proves she's a woman, where does that leave you?
If she was going to
the poorhouse, she's gonna be waiting tables in Nashville. She better learn how to make hot chicken. You heard what I said. And they already told you don't be putting no Scotch bonnet in there. They use real chili, you asshole.
If she was a woman, she would have done it over the last 10 years. And like I said, they came to us first and we said, we will not publish this series if you answer questions. Okay. So they were on the offense in that moment. I didn't go to them and go, I deserve a response to this. They had their lawyers email us speaking about this question. And so I have been completely honest and transparent with my audience. This matters to me because I'm a mother. And there are too many people around them that have been charged with pedophilia, many who have admitted that they were pedophiles.
Who cares? Are they directly harming your children? Are you taking your children over to Paris or wherever these two idiots live at, and they're doing things to your children? No, then it's not your problem. You would have been better served using your resources to expose this quote unquote PDF file ring.
It's not even just pedophiles, incestuous pedophiles, people that molested their children that are surrounding them. Even the lawyers that they're dealing with are lawyers that defend pedophile and incest, preferring it to as happy incest when children are molested by their fathers. That's their current lawyer who has...
What lawyer won't defend their... Never mind.
Attached himself to this case in France. Eric...
Your dumbass lawyers will go on into the courtroom when she gets you to that point, and they'll bring up your degeneracy. And what are they going to say? What she does in the privacy of her bedroom is not your problem. And their lawyer is going to be like, word? So why are we here?
Dupont Moretti. Everywhere you look, you see a story regarding incest and pedophilia that surrounds this couple. I have presented that to the public. And if you are going to pretend that they have not lied, Piers, a couple of weeks ago, when Brigitte smacked Emmanuel Macron on camera on the plane, the Élysée Palace answered and said that it was Russian propaganda and that it never happened. They lie all the time. And it's very easy to lie in France, where they have laws against speech and laws against cyberbullying and where journalists are afraid. It's not so easy to lie in America. I'm glad they brought this to my turf because now the French people are watching and cheering.
And that motherfucker drank up all the wine on the plane. That's why he got smacked.
Easy to lie in America. I'm glad they brought this to my turf because
he ate all the goddamn croissants. He ate all of them with the good cheese. She ain't getting none, and he finished off the wine. Come on now.
Now the French people are watching and cheering, knowing that this couple has lied to them from the very beginning. They are due for an exposure. And no, I do not believe that she is going to be able to now or will.
Man, you will be damned by those words.
To suddenly prove that she is a woman when she could have done that for the last 8 years.
Okay, tell me about the phone call from Donald Trump in which he tried to get you to drop all this.
Yeah, certainly. I received a phone call, and to be clear, this was on the very same day that Emmanuel Macron visited the White House, ostensibly to discuss Ukraine and Russia. I received a phone call at first from a third party saying that And what I was told was that Emmanuel Macron, who was negotiating in good faith regarding an end to the Ukraine and Russia war, which would have required his signature on some EU stuff, was holding up stuff because he wanted Trump to speak to me, to get me to stop talking about Brigitte Macron. Again, very odd measure when we already said that we would stop speaking about Brigitte Macron. If you had simply answered our questions, you could have stopped this. And then the next day, or maybe it was within 48 hours, I received a phone call from Trump himself. He obviously was not following the series. He is not someone who I think watches a bunch of podcasting shows, but he said he was very confused when Emmanuel Macron took him to the side of a car and brought this up, asked him if he knew him, asked me to stop speaking about his wife, wanted him to get in touch with me to make that happen. Again, that's an extraordinary effort for a state leader to get on a plane and speak to another state leader to shut up a podcaster in America.
That's not why he was there. You see how she just tried to turn around and make it all about her, that man flew 7,000 miles just to go say, I'm sorry, not 7,000, you know. DC to Paris is what? Was it like a 6-hour flight, 7-hour flight? Maybe 5. Okay. You flew 3,000, 4,000 miles to go. She's a delusional broad.
When all you have to do to dispel the rumors is to tell the truth and answer the questions. It's so easy. It's so easy to do that. I would never let it get to a point where I had to sue
what did you say
a
to Trump?
podcaster in France. Well, I told him in the short run, while they were having those negotiations, that I wouldn't say anything, which is why we didn't report on it for, I think it was about 4 months or 5 months later. And that then afterwards, once they were done having those discussions, that I would reach out again and tell the person that I was going to speak about it publicly on my platform, because obviously I believe in free speech.
I mean, it's a fascinating situation. You've got.
So you believe in free speech, but you waited 4 months not to say nothing. All right. Okay.
A world leader coming after a podcaster. That on its own is fascinating, but it's because you have such a big following, and because they believe, from my understanding, that unlike the French journalists, where they were getting a small amount of traction, but not very much, it's only when you embraced this wholeheartedly and began to do this as a big series on your very popular show and channel, that at that point they realized this was going around the world and they had to do something about it. And they've launched this unprecedented act. I just can't, I mean, look, again, I might be wrong, but I cannot imagine a scenario where the president and the first lady of France launch an action like this unless they are 100% certain that they are right, that she is a woman.
Okay, then can you answer why? Because you're saying it's because I'm big. They've gone after small journalists, right? They just lost in the upper courts against the initial journalist that brought this forward for defamation. If you lost this on your home court, why would you take this lawsuit overseas? It doesn't make any sense, right? So there had to have been some evidence presented, which they only presented an expired ID, which is completely ridiculous, an expired voting ID. So you're telling me that you're not going to go after, you lose in the journalist on your home court, but you take this now overseas because I'm a bigger journalist. And to be clear, Piers, Xavier Poussard, they did launch a legal action against him on the same day they launched a legal action against me. Okay, but they're not suing him for defamation. They are suing him for cyberbullying. So I got all of my information sourced from Xavier Poussard's book. I did a presentation on Xavier Poussard's book, and yet you don't go after Xavier Poussard for defamation, and he lives in France. Why is that? The answer to that question is because Xavier Poussard has been on the offense against them. He won in the courts to have her Sacré-Cœur, which is Sacred Heart, is where Brigitte Macron allegedly went to school in high school. He won for them to release we would call it in America, a yearbook, which would have had a photo of Brigitte Macron in it. The school is refusing to give it to him. So the court would have to at first acknowledge the actions that this brave journalist brought against Brigitte Macron to expose this story before they would acknowledge her actions against him. They are being very cunning in how they're dealing with this. They launched this lawsuit because they failed in their first defamation efforts. So they thought if they launched an even bigger lawsuit as a PR move, and to be clear, Piers, this is not all that they've done. We have evidence that they hired a crisis PR team here in the United States before I launched my first episode of Becoming Brigitte. When they were in communication with us back in January, they used a UK firm, and they contacted that UK firm and had them go out to find a crisis PR team in America ahead of my series. Why would you do that? That's completely crazy. You're in contact with us. You have the power to stop this series.
All right. If, as I believe, you are completely wrong and you end up losing this case, would you accept that everything you've been doing, if she establishes to the world she is a woman, that everything you've been doing would constitute, in that eventuality, a very cruel, vindictive campaign of bullying against a woman? Challenging.
I want to be very clear. I would have never
woman.
done this. Like I said, I was not interested in being the crusader against this because I went to them and I said, if you answer these questions, we will not run the series. I'm only interested in truth. I only went after the story because I was shocked by the pedocriminal network which surrounds them. It's shocking. Okay, there are real children being harmed right now in Paris, and there are real citizens that are being gaslit about these circumstances. I don't know many people who can say all of my homies are pedophiles, but it just keeps happening by accident.
So why aren't you exposing the ring? That's what I'm trying to understand. Why are you not exposing the ring? You said, is Morgan letting her hang herself? Is he foolish and on board? No, he's letting her hang herself because he understands he's gonna get a subpoena soon, and all he has to say is, "I just let her talk."
It's a very big story in France, and the people in France are behind me for a reason, Piers. Like I said, this would not have.
You would love the people of France to be behind you. Never mind. Never. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, I don't like saying that. I don't like saying that. Oof.
By the way, screenshot. I think she's trying out the mold for the mascot costume she's gonna have to wear at the bowling alley when he take all her money and she gotta work part-time.
Been a globally impactful series if I was just up there flipping my hair saying, well, it kind of looks like her wig is bad. We presented a lot of evidence. Xavier presented a lot of evidence. And I believe in my heart of hearts that she is not only a groomer and a creep for the relationship that she began with Emmanuel Macron when he was just a student and 14 years old in that play, but also that they are liars that are leading this country, France, down the drain. Truly, I believe it's in my heart that Brigitte Macron was born a child, actually not a man, but born a male named Jean-Michel Trogneux. And everything that they have done has only further led me to that conclusion because they are not behaving as though truth is on their side. You don't try to silence journalists.
Well, last time we discussed this on Uncensored, I bet you $150,000 that you were wrong and that she's a woman. On X, when we discussed this further, I doubled it. This is for charity, to $300,000. You haven't accepted that yet. So right now, $300,000 to charity. I say she's a woman. Are you prepared to take that bet?
I'm 1,000% prepared to take that.
If I'm her husband, I'm going in there kicking her off the chair.
Be quiet! Shut up!
Ma'am. This nigga, this husband of hers is gonna fuck around and lock her out of the bank accounts. The fuck is wrong with you? Why are you betting $300,000? Girl, are you nuts? This is her husband on the playback.
You said what?
$300,000. I'm cutting off the internet.
She didn't see your tweet or I would have accepted it live. So we can totally accept that bet.
Okay,
I believe Brigitte Macron is a male and that they will not be.
So, ma'am, you gonna fuck around. You already done lost thousands to them lawyers. You gonna lose thousands to them court costs. You gonna lose thousands to the law firm, her law firm, or their law firm. Whatever punitive damages they ask for is probably going to be in the millions. You're going to lose that. And on top of that, $300,000 to a charity that Piers sets up, you're going to be feeding Sheffield over there. Them tethers over there in South London hoping you fail. They can get extra jerk drums and their goosey will be flying. They're going to be like this here because the way Black Americans tell it, everybody steals culture from America. So, yeah.
So put on the full armor of God, Jesus Christ. I love you, God. Hell, a true Jesus Christ.
They're going to be on high streets doing that. Piers is gonna rent a helicopter. He gonna turn all that into pounds and euros and fly it out of the helicopter. He really should do it at the Caribbean Day Festival. That when he should do it in Nottingham. Piss them white folk off. Maybe there won't be no stabbings. Well, you know what? The money gonna be flying from the air. There's gonna be more stabbings. So he's gonna help with their crime rate over there. Go fuck up the numbers that Trump put out there yesterday. But this chick crazy. $300,000. How do you look at your kids after you said that? $75,000 each. That could put them. That's people's yearly salary. You just bet. Times 4. To prove that a bitch that don't know you was born a man. This might be the trifecta family. First it was, well, I shouldn't even bring up the Nicole Arbor story, but we'll take her out of that because she's still, I don't even know where that broad is at. But recently, Christina Applegate, Megyn Kelly. Now, if this chick beats you, the Blue Eyes White B trifecta will be and trust and believe they ain't gonna bring you on to go explain. This is crazy. And then when your kids get older, they gonna find these videos and they're gonna be like, so that's why I ain't get that 75 grand. My 75 grand over there in daddy homeland. That helped funded more immigration into the UK. All right. They gonna put you in a home.
Get to work! Presenting any evidence to the contrary because they would have done it already.
Okay, Candace, I appreciate you coming on uncensored. I think you're completely wrong. We shall see.
Leave it to the white supremacists to say that. I think you're wrong.
I think the great thing about this action is we're going to get to the bottom of this extraordinary story. Thank you very much indeed for coming back on.
I'll be back to get my money, Pierce.
That ain't gonna be your money. You gonna pay off. That motherfucker gonna make you write the check right there. Oh shit. This chick is insane. All right. So there's that. Now we gotta go back to Nick Fuentes because we have some breaking news. They're still arguing.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
Okay. So, as we said, that whole interview did not make her look well. Since she's in the business of upping stakes now, she just said $300,000 to a charity of Pierce's choice. What if I told you she just served up a white man? Because that's what she did. What if I told you she served up a white man? You don't believe me? Figured you didn't. Guess what she just wrote about 45 minutes ago? Oh, it's an hour ago now. Okay. Second offer to Nick Fuentes. Now, this is the second offer. If he agrees to sit down and actually debate me with a moderator in time and date of his choosing, I will thereafter set up his dream debate with Charlie Kirk. Now, notice she did not tag this motherfucker, but Nick did. So your overboss did not agree to this. You didn't check it with him, and you throwing him under the bus. I told you these conservatives don't like each other. He told his audience, I'm an illiterate fraud, so this offer should be irresistible. Nick came back on her, pause, because that's what he been running around saying he want to do after she makes him this sandwich. But okay. If that's a real offer, then have Charlie Kirk confirm, and maybe I'll consider it. Otherwise, you're just embarrassing yourself. Everyone knows you wouldn't be begging me to come back if your first hit job succeeded. It's always the loser asking for a rematch. You letting this half a Mexican talk to you like this. Where is your Caribbean pride? She's pissing me off. This person said, what hit job, you little crybaby bee? Jesus Christ, get your nuts back from Destiny's mouth and stop playing the victim. Pause.
Pause.
I played clips from his own show, Laugh Out Loud. He's genuinely this soft. So here's a response to him. We never debated. It was not marketed as a debate, nor did I ask you to come on to debate. Now we will debate the lies you spread on my character and your views. Answer yes or no. If I can guarantee you Charlie Kirk, would you guarantee you'll debate me first? So we're dangling a white man in front of a mixed guy by a black woman. I am never deleting this app. And she got ratioed to hell. But okay. Nick says, sounds like more petty drama just like the first time. Everything going on in the world and you're still yanking my chain over gossip. You are destroying your credibility with his unhinged behavior. I've never seen you so rattled. Get Kirk to confirm, then I'll consider it. Let's see if she said something. She didn't say a word. She's probably calling Charlie right now. Or he's probably calling him like, don't put me in the middle of this. I gotta clean up. I still gotta clean up cocaine residue from Turning Point's last conference. Just saying, leave me out of it. But do you think Candace cares? Hell no. She gonna bring everybody down. She might be the Joker. She just might be. She just wants to see the whole world burn. But there's that. So what we're going to do, there's the link. This is, I can't believe this. But I can. Let me tell y'all something. If and when she loses this lawsuit, but you know what, we'll be fair tonight. If or when she loses this lawsuit, right, this app is going to be in shambles. They are going to torch this lady. They're going to force her to come outside and make a statement. She's going to run to YouTube to do it. She better go where Lauren Kirk is at. Lauren Chen. What the fuck? I said Lauren Kirk. Lauren Chen is at. And Liam Donovan. Let me look. Now, this was an hour ago. Let me look. Let me see what old Charlie Cuck said. Let me see. Let me look. This motherfucker really came up here looking like James Bond. I hate, never mind. Never mind. He wrote this 2 hours ago. All right. Yeah, y'all play that populist nationalist bullshit over there. Play with that. I can't wait to talk about this. The psyop they're pulling. Now, mind you, he got tagged. Now, I know being that big a page, everybody tagging you and stuff, you probably got it off. The notifications. Pause. I'd be pissed off. See, look at the graph. Right. Your 15-year-old just happened to have on Charlie Kirk. Okay. All right. The graph is beautiful. So all his tweets are about crime in DC. Okay, so the script went out. Got it. We get it. All right, I guess nobody's coming up. That's good. I can leave. That's what's up. So on behalf of put myself back on the screen. On behalf of Candace, Piers Morgan, Nick Fuentes, now Charlie Kirk is in it, Brigitte Macron, her husband, and everybody in France.
All pretty girls rock. A club of bitches.
Yeah, we don't care about this, but it makes for great content. So, Candace, for you to win this, there's only one thing you do: being melanated.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap. When you can't nobody else come up here if they not rapping like that. Stay your punk ass at home.
We gotta play that again because Candace hard-headed. She ain't gonna get the message.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap. When you can't nobody else come up here if they not rapping like that. Stay your punk ass at home.
Wait a minute. Ain't her people from St. Thomas? St. Thomas got 3 syllables. We gotta play it one more time.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap. When you can't nobody else come up here if they not rapping like that. Stay your punk ass at home.
All right, y'all. We up out of here. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. Like I said, we got uploads coming. If you saw the community post, I unlocked it so you can say anything you want on that page. You can even tell me F you. I could care less. Let's bring the engagement to the page. But anyway, we got uploads coming. We got the live streams coming. We're going to have fun this last week before I have to start my new venture. And, uploads are coming and pause. And, we're going to have fun. A little light rebranding of the channel. Anyway, y'all, enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay cool out there. Stay dry because for some reason it looked like a tornado hit this motherfucker outside the way it got dark earlier, but we good now. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.
Time's up.
Get your ass up. We gotta get out of here now.
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
Gotta get your groove on.
At the end of the day gotta end.
That's it.